Are you struggling in a relationship with a girl? Do you want to be prepared for a relationship and you're not in one yet? And do you want to know where you can find godly girls who follow the Bible and who you can date to marry? We want to answer these questions today, and we'll go deep into these topics, and I think you'll find something very valuable. And stick around to the end because I have a worksheet that has really helped me date my wife for 6 years and then still am in a happy marriage for the last 3 years. All right, let's get going. But before I start, I think it's really important that we know that we are all different. Everyone's different. Everyone has a unique situation. And I want to help you personally. So if you have troubles and you have problems, hit me up. Here's the link, currently linked below. Book a time, and I'm more than happy to chat to you and just give you a bit of advice on the journey, because that's something that I've been through and I think I can help you learn from the lessons. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty of this tricky topic. I think there's 4 very essential, difficult topics in a relationship. So the very first is boundaries, then we have communication, then we have expectations, and then we have service. And these things are really a struggle in dating or also in married life. And I want to go into all of these in a bit more detail. So the first thing is boundaries. There's a lot of Old Testament references to boundaries, right? There's a law even that if you have a boundary stone, it says in the law, do not move an ancient boundary stone. Those boundaries have been set up to mark out the land, to distribute land to the 12 tribes, and they were set there in stone, quite literally. It was something that was set by God, and it was supposed to be kept. Paul then in the New Testament warns Timothy, and he says in 2 Timothy, flee sexual desires, flee youthful lusts. And these are very common. Like, I experience them, I think everyone experiences them, and it's hard to flee. We see in Joseph, who fled Potiphar's wife, who saw him as a handsome man and she wanted to sleep with him, and he fled the house. And that's biblical advice to get away. He set that boundary of, as soon as she touches me or wants to get close to me, I will move away. I'll need to flee that situation. And that is very godly. So try and determine those boundaries early on in a relationship. That's something that I truly regret not really doing. We kind of said, this is what we want to do, but we didn't sit down and set those boundaries when we were dating, and it made life really, really difficult at times. So set those boundaries and you'll be happy. Set how far you want to go. Do you want to, if you say it's fine to kiss and hold hands, cool, do that. But maybe for some couples that also is already a step too far. And I think the trick here is to make your own exit strategy. And there's a template, and I want to share that in the links below, a template to build your own exit strategy, so that when you're in a situation, you can remember that. You can pull that piece of paper up or remember in your mind. You're like, okay, I know what to do. I'll do it. So the second thing is communication. And communication is the alpha and the omega of dating, of relationships. It's so important that you learn to communicate. And for us, it took us like at least 3-4 years, I'd say, to build that relationship of being open, being honest, telling our partner, the person we were dating, everything, all the struggles, all the difficulties, and also saying when we're upset, when we're hurt. And it's something that can be difficult. Like for me, I grew up in a family where we just opened up, we talked about everything, but that's not always the case, and some families are a bit more secluded. That's also fine. It's just different, and you have to learn to deal with those situations. God helps you in the Word. And there's a lovely proverb in Proverbs 15 verse 1 that says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So gentle answers are humility, in kindness. Don't shout at your spouse. That's not going to work. That's not the communication that'll help you build that relationship. And as James says, everybody should be quick to listen and slow to become angry. And that's so important. Listening is better than speaking at times. Sometimes it's just important to listen to your wife or your partner that you're dating Maybe they just want to let off steam, and that's important. And remember, you can do that as well. That's just a healthy relationship when both people listen when they need to and speak when they have to. Another important thing about communication is don't lie. Speak truthfully. And it says in Ephesians 4:25, each of you must put off falsehood and speak honestly to their neighbor. Pretty simple, but also a fundamental core of communication, to be honest. And speaking about dating, Proverbs 24:26 says an honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. So you see that communication is a topic of the Bible, it's important, and we really need to look at the word and see what principles are in there. So Jesus actually talks about communication. He even tells us how we can do it. And it says in Luke 6:45, for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. You need to see and fill your heart with good things, good examples, with good biblical teachings, and you will speak that to the world. So yeah, try that. See how that works for you. Now the third one is expectations. I think it's really important. As soon as you start dating, you clarify those expectations. You say, okay, what part are you expected to do? What part am I expected to do? Who does the bins? Who does the household? Who does the clearing up? Who helps in the kitchen cooking? Who does the anything really? Who basically you need to think of clear roles for certain things. Doesn't mean that person always has to do it, but it's just someone who looks out for that. And I think that is a true and important thing to do pretty early on. And this last thing, the fourth thing, is service. And I think service is a fundamental aspect of how do we approach looking at each other? How do we approach our relationship? Is it something where you only give as much as you need to? Because then there's no overlap. And overlap is where the good thing happens. It's like you really have to sit down and think, okay, how can I serve in a way that the spouse or the partner gets the benefits, gets the most of it? And how can I give from my heart as much as I can? And so you talk about that, speak about that, and clarify that. Because once you set those early on or later on in your relationship, it doesn't really matter. Early on is better, but do it if you're already dating, then do it now, and you will have such a rich blessing from God. So give that a try. So these struggles are real, and I don't want to say it's easy to do any of this. I think it's a real tricky thing to set out a relationship in the right way. But it's possible. God helps you. People can help you. Talk to people. They can assist you on this journey. So we've talked about the 4 pillars of a relationship that you kind of need to think about as soon as possible. But what if you say, hey Chris, I'm single, I don't have a girlfriend, I'm really not in a situation that I want one maybe. How can I prepare for a relationship? How can I be the best? But essentially I'd say there's 2 rules. The very first one is date to marry. I think that should be the core purpose of dating, right? You're preparing for marriage. We see a few of those examples as well of dating in the Bible. We see Mary and Joseph where they were engaged. Okay, that's already a further step, but they were about to be married and they weren't quite yet. But generally dating isn't a huge thing. Like often people would meet and then we hear about their marriage. But truly there must be a time of preparation to see if you fit. Because in those days God did actively work in finding the right partner for people, like with Isaac and Rebecca. So we see that example of dating to marry, and I think that also should always be at the core of a relationship where you're dating. And the second thing is that we're reading Corinthians not to be unequally yoked. And this is a debated topic. Some say, it doesn't matter if you marry an unbeliever, if you're a believer. But I think it does. It really does. It makes your life so much easier if you can go to church, to the meeting, to youth events and bring up your kids in a believing way, in a godly way, and not have one partner just do other things. It's really at the core of things to make sure that you are equally yoked, that you have the same goal in life, the same purpose, and you'll see that the motivation behind everything is from the same root, and that's God's word. So those are the 2 rules I'd definitely say you can think about and you can look out for if you not yet found someone who you want to date. Okay, well, now we've talked about all those 4 rules. We've talked about the importance of looking at the 2 rules of 2 fundamentals of dating. And now we want to look at, hey, I don't know where to look for girls. And I think that's a valid question. I don't think that Tinder might be the best place. It's very surface level, and you kind of want to go to a deeper level. But saying that, I've heard examples in our meeting of Christian dating apps. We've also heard of people who just, met randomly. So God arranged that meeting at a bar or a club or some place. We've heard of a lot of people also met at Christian camps and gatherings, and where you go to a Bible school or you'd go to a youth camp and you just meet your partner there. And there's so many different examples that if you believe in God and you trust Him and you honestly pray, then I'm confident that God will give you that partner if you really want that. And it doesn't have to be at a certain age. When you're 25, 27, 30, that doesn't mean you on the shelf at all. That's a horrible wording, and I don't really like it at all, because that doesn't really matter. You can be older. We've heard of marriages where someone is 60, 70. Okay, yes, maybe it's not really possible to have kids then, but that's also okay. God will provide for you at the right time, and I think that's essential and fundamental in preparing and looking for a spouse and wanting to date. So I want to learn and hear what you want to say, what you think about these topics. It's really important to me to have that connection in the comments, and if you want to do that, then let me know what you think. And this next video is all about how you can work on that and renew your mind in Christ. So check that one out, and otherwise have a wonderful day. God bless.